0300 hours. A humid Caribbean night clings to the deck of the USS Gravely. The destroyer cruises at reduced power, one engine online to save fuel. Inside, radar screens sweep quietly, the crew lulled into routine. But far away, in a clearing near Puerto La Cruz, Venezuela, 20 shadows rise. They're not birds, they're not weather balloons, they're drones. Each strapped with 50 pounds of high explosive, guided by bargain bin GPS units, tweaked by Russian advisors. To the Cartel, this swarm is a cheap ticket to glory. To the Gravely, it could be sudden death. In less than 4 minutes, those drones will cross 200 miles of sky. Their plan? Saturate radar, force the destroyer to waste million-dollar missiles, and let a hypersonic ace slip in behind them. The Gravely's crew doesn't know it yet, but they're seconds from the first hostile swarm attack in the Caribbean. 20 buzzing warheads versus 1 warship. Numbers versus steel. The night looks calm, but when the first radar blips appear, calm will die fast. What the Cartel doesn't know is that the Gravely isn't just any target. It's armed with the deadliest layered defense system afloat. At first, the Gravely's own radar doesn't see the swarm. Each drone is the size of a scooter, built with cheap fiberglass, giving them a radar cross-section about the size of a bird. To the SPY-1D radar, they look like clutter in the night sky. But the Navy never sails alone. 27,000 feet above the Caribbean, an E-2D Hawkeye circles. Its APY-9 radar dome sweeps like a lighthouse across the Black Sea, spotting the drones seconds after launch. Within moments, it sends the tracks straight into the Gravely's Aegis combat system. Inside the Combat Information Center, a tired petty officer nearly spills his Red Bull when a cluster of glowing blips floods the screen. The calm hum of machinery is shattered. These aren't false echoes, they're inbound, fast. The TAO, Lieutenant Commander Hayes, doesn't panic. He watches the swarm's pattern, zigzagging erratically, designed to confuse sensors. But thanks to the Hawkeye's eye in the sky, he sees them clear as day. 20 drones up front, 1 mysterious missile lagging behind. The Cartel's gambit is revealed. The Gravely can see the threat, but seeing is only half the fight. The question is, can they kill it before it kills them? Hayes doesn't hesitate. He orders, engage outer layer. The forward deck stirs as 2 heavy steel hatches snap open. Inside the vertical launch system, Standard Missile 6s wait like coiled snakes. A hiss of hydraulics, then fire. 2 SM-6s erupt into the sky, leaving thunder in their wake. Each missile costs $4 million, a Ferrari price tag to swat drones that barely equal a used pickup truck. But this is no place to pinch pennies. At Mach 3.5, the SM-6s close the gap in under a minute. They don't need direct hits. Their warheads burst mid-air, releasing clouds of high-velocity shrapnel. The lead wave of drones vanish in fiery confetti, sparks raining into the sea. For a moment, relief ripples through the CIC. The first punch lands hard, but then the Aegis system reveals the truth. 5 drones slipped past. Flying lower, weaving harder, they've dodged the storm. The Gravely's first layer worked, but the Cartel still has teeth left in the fight. And those teeth are now less than 100 miles away. The swarm isn't done. The Gravely must switch weapons and fast. Next up, the Sea Sparrow, a missile built to kill at knife fight range. Engage mid-layer, Sea Sparrows, Hayes commands. Another hatch snaps open, but this time 4 slim missiles leap from a single cell. They're RIM 162 evolved Sea Sparrows, ESSMs. Smaller than the SM-6, but faster off the deck, hitting over Mach 4 within seconds. These are the ship's sprinters, designed for exactly this range.
Unlike the long-range giants, the ESSMs don't rely on the Gravely to guide them all the way. Each one carries its own radar seeker, like a hunting dog unleashed. The second they clear the launcher, they lock on and chase, pure and relentless. In the CIC, crew members hold their breath. 3 blips disappear almost instantly, drones bursting into orange fireballs across the dark sea. But then, disaster. 1 ESSM veers off, software glitching, guidance lost. 2 drones slip through the cracks. The swarm is inside 10 miles now, a blink of an eye in naval combat. The Gravely has seconds, not minutes, to react. The ESSMs did their job, but the fight is suddenly close quarters, and nerves tighten across the deck. The drones are now too close for missiles. The Gravely's next move? a 5-inch gun older than most of its crew, but with a deadly trick. Missiles won't work now. At 10 miles in closing, the drones are inside knife range. Hayes shifts gears. Engage with the 5-inch, he orders. On the forward deck, the Mk-45 naval gun pivots with a mechanical growl. It's old-school artillery, but this is no ordinary cannonball shooter. Tonight, it's loaded with controlled variable time, CVT, shells, each one programmed to explode mid-air with perfect precision. The Gravely's computer calculates the drone's speed, course, and altitude in microseconds. The fuse is set automatically as the round slides into the chamber. One thunderous bark, and the shell tears into the night. On the gun's camera feed, the crew watches a puff of black smoke appear right in front of the lead drone. Shrapnel shreds it instantly, dropping pieces into the waves. A cheer almost breaks in the CIC, but it dies fast. A warning flashes red across the console. The gun's fuse setter has failed. Every round after this is useless, exploding at the wrong moment. The Gravely just lost its shotgun at the worst possible time. One drone is still alive, closing in. If the gun can't stop it, the ship's last defense has to. The lone drone dives low, its warhead glinting against the moonlight. Too close for missiles, too fast for the disabled 5-inch gun. Hayes doesn't flinch. CIWS, auto, he orders. On deck, a squat white dome swivels with startling speed. It looks almost harmless, like a giant R2-D2, but inside spins a 6-barrel 20mm Gatling gun, the Phalanx close-in weapon system. The crew calls it the last resort. The enemy calls it unfair. The CIWS doesn't ask permission. Its radar locks, its computer decides, and its barrels roar. Brrrt! A storm of tungsten rounds spits out at 4,500 per minute, 75 bullets every second. A glowing wall of metal meets the drone mid-air. The screen flickers. The drone vanishes in a burst of sparks and shredded fiberglass. Cheers break out, but they die fast. Because behind that drone, screaming at Mach speeds, is something far worse. The cartel's real weapon has arrived. A hypersonic missile, shielded by the swarm, streaks toward the Gravely. It has 30 seconds to impact. The drones were just the distraction. Now the Gravely faces the main act, a weapon moving too fast for humans to fight. The drones were never the real danger. They were smoke and noise, designed to empty missile tubes and break systems under stress. Now, the true predator enters.
On radar, a new track appears. Sleek, fast, and merciless. A hypersonic missile, flying at over Mach 5, streaking low across the sea. At this speed, it covers a mile every second. The Gravely has less than half a minute before impact. There's no time for human decision-making. No time for committees or commands. Hayes has already switched the stern-mounted CIWS into auto mode. The machine doesn't wait. The second its radar confirms the incoming speed, the barrels spin. A torrent of tungsten fills the night, 75 shells every second, forming a glowing curtain of lead. The missile tears into it, and suddenly, its sleek flight turns ugly. The control fins are shredded. Guidance burns away. Aerodynamics collapse. The warhead cooks off mid-air in a massive flash, fragments raining harmlessly into the sea. The cartel's trump card has failed. The Gravely is still afloat, but the fight isn't over. The Navy never ends with defense. It strikes back. Silence fills the CIC after the missile fireball fades. Every screen clears, no more tracks. The Gravely has survived. But Hayes knows survival isn't the mission. Retaliation is. Above, a P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft circles, its sensors sniffing the night air like a bloodhound. Within minutes, it triangulates the drone's launch point, a reinforced jungle bunker hidden deep in Venezuela. The cartel thought they could disappear into the trees. They were wrong. Hayes doesn't ask for permission. Rules of engagement are already clear. The moment an attack is traced, the response is automatic. Spin up a Tomahawk, he orders. On deck, another vertical launch cell creaks open. This isn't defense anymore. The Tomahawk rises slow, then its turbofan engine ignites. In seconds, it streaks toward the horizon, carrying 1,000 pounds of GPS-guided payback. Somewhere in the jungle, cartel radios buzz with panic. They don't yet know what's coming. But the Poseidon sensors do. They're locked onto that bunker, and the Tomahawk is already on its way. The Gravely's defense was brutal. Its counterstrike will be worse. By dawn, the cartel will learn why you don't pick fights with a U.S. warship. The Tomahawk streaks through the night, invisible to the cartel fighters who launched their drones just minutes earlier.
Flying low and fast, it hugs the terrain, guided by satellite signals and terrain-matching software. It doesn't just know where to go, it knows the shape of the ground beneath it. In a clearing, the cartel's bunker buzzes with chaos. Radios crackle, men shout, and vehicles scramble, trying to vanish into the dense Venezuelan jungle. But the Poseidon's eye in the sky is unforgiving. Every heat signature is mapped, every transmission traced. There's no escape. At 0310, the Tomahawk arrives. No warning, no mercy. The jungle canopy glows orange as the missile slams through the bunker roof and detonates with a thunderous roar. Concrete and steel collapse like paper. The radios fall silent. On the Gravely's deck, the crew hears nothing, only confirmation flashing on their consoles. A target destroyed. The message sent. But Hayes doesn't relax. He knows this fight isn't just about one ship or one cartel. Somewhere else, more weapons wait. More enemies plot. The Gravely won tonight, but this isn't only one battle in a bigger shadow war playing out across the seas. By sunrise, the Caribbean glitters gold, calm waves brushing against the Gravely's steel hull. To anyone watching, it looks like an ordinary patrol, but the logbook now carries a story of 20 drones, a hypersonic missile, and a counterstrike that left a bunker in flames. For the crew, adrenaline fades into routine. Radar screens sweep quietly again, coffee cups refill, and the ocean stretches wide. What almost became a disaster is now just another entry, filed away, marked, and moved on. For the cartel, the message is clear. For their Russian advisors, clearer still. A US destroyer doesn't just dodge punches, it hits back harder, faster, and from farther away than anyone expects. But Hayes knows this isn't the end. Drones are getting cheaper. Hypersonics are spreading. Somewhere in another jungle, desert, or city, the next test is already being prepared. And when it comes, the Gravely or another ship just like it will be waiting. Calm, silent, deadly. Because in the World Shadow Wars, attacks don't end. They only pause, and the next one is already on the horizon.